practice polygyny can be a trigger. Somebody feel they're getting abandoned, or they're getting left, or they're less than. And they don't know they had that stuff to work out within themselves. They maybe have not went to therapy or had the personal growth, and you may not be aware of it yourself. Salaam alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Nadir, one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and one of the co-authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. In today's video, I want to address a question that I get often. Well, occasionally. I'll say it's not often. But I'll get brothers that sometimes ask, and even ladies that ask, they say, you know what, well, do you regret anything or different ways on how you did things when it comes to polygyny? And yeah, of course, I'm not going to be the kind of guy, no, I don't regret anything. I would have done everything the same way because it made me into, nah. Yes, I regret some stuff. I would have done things differently, absolutely. I mean, it's important to recognize the benefit of hindsight, but I prefer to have foresight. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to front, but yes, a couple things. One very, very important thing is being more assertive as a leader. Being more assertive as a leader. I'm talking about at home, because outside the home, leading stuff, doing business, and everything else is no problem. You know, really conquering the world and taking action and being assertive and aggressive when the time calls for it. So that wasn't an issue. It was in the home, I'm trying to be more laid back, more power sharing, if you will, and things like that. So when it came to polygyny, for example, the shift that occurred is when I was more firm with my leadership on my vision and where I wanted things to go, how I wanted it to look. See, initially at the beginning, we're not really knowing how things kind of set up or how things will mesh, and basically just knowing that there's a lot of flexibility. I didn't choose where I wanted it to be. I kind of let my wives kind of choose that a little bit, Coach Fatima and so on. So I'm like, you don't necessarily have to be friends, because they don't have to be friends, they have to meet. All right, but I wasn't sharing necessarily my perspective of where I wanted to go in the big picture and vision I wanted for my family. So when I chose to be more assertive, 1 year during Eid, I'm like, this is how this is going to be from now on. Things drastically changed. They got much better. All right, we had to face things and have harder conversations and so on and move forward. So that's one thing, really being more assertive with your leadership from the beginning. People may not like it. That does not matter. You have to look out for the well-being and benefit of your family, of your legacy, what you're trying to build. Okay, that would be one thing. The second thing is almost oversimplifying feelings. Oversimplifying. That's what I mean. You can think of many different ways and situations may turn out, right? But you don't know how a person is necessarily going to react or respond in the situation, especially when they're in a heightened emotional state.
Allow me to interrupt myself. All right, I'm Coach Nadir. You probably already know that because you're listening to me right now. But I want to let you know something. I conducted a series of 5 workshops. And I call it the Successful Marriage Challenge Workshops. I did them live. They have a lot of worksheets. And the reason I'm mentioning this right now is because a lot of people want to know how to take themselves to the next level as men. Okay, and the next level really goes from being a boy to being managed to a man of value, and then king. This is exactly what we're discussing and I'm training in depth on in the Successful Marriage Workshops, the King's Edition. Of course, my wives have done the True Queen's Edition, but I want to let you know that is available. So make sure to click the link below to go to the site, or just simply go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/KSMC for King's Successful Marriage Challenge. All right, let me let you get back to me. Peace.
So they, for example, sometimes people have maybe been through trauma, right? Or let's say PTSD and been on the battlefield. And there are even animals that have been on the battlefield. Bomb-sniffing dogs, for example. So if they hear an explosion or a firecracker, they may be a totally different neurological response that their body, their brain has already put together in their neural synapses that causes an issue. So if there are some unresolved traumas or traumas that you didn't know about, maybe from childhood, practice polygyny can be a trigger. Somebody feel they're getting abandoned, or they're getting left, or they're less than. And they don't know they had that stuff to work out within themselves. They maybe have not went to therapy or had the personal growth, and you may not be aware of it yourself. So oversimplifying feelings. So I looked at it, hey, polygyny is something that's already allowed. You already know it. Coach Fasman, for example, is already helping and coaching other people in regard to this aspect of our religion of Islam. So I'm like, okay, she already knows the deal. She knows I'm already a good guy. I'm providing, doing everything for my family. So, it might be some issues, personal issues so far as, adjusting and so on, but that's just oversimplifying things. All right, had I thought a little deeper on it and had more conversation initially in the beginning just about the topic, period, which is another thing. Even though I was not out actively pursuing and looking to go ahead and marry someone else, and like traditionally polygynous unions come together, I still could have had that conversation. We know polygyny existed. We know it's a form of marriage. Why not talk about it, discuss it regardless on the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 10th year of marriage? All right, I already had some books and everything about it on the bookshelf, but I didn't know anybody that was practicing. I wasn't looking for it and anything like that. I was open, but still, I also had other assumptions that you had to have such and such amount of money and it has to be looked like this and all this type of stuff, because there wasn't something like Outstanding Personal Relationships out there that was teaching and coaching and showing you practical ways to do it, because unfortunately, a lot of our religious and faith leaders fail us, and then many people's marriages are failing anyway, so they're not good at just one, or that's if they get married at all. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Nevertheless, that would kind of be the second thing. And the third thing would be to not only have that discussion with your wife and really get an understanding of what's going on and try to see how things can be worked out, but also dealing with the children that you have. All right, nothing should necessarily be a surprise on them and so on. Just they should already know about polygyny is another form of marriage, period. Even if you never intend to practice it. They should know that different forms of marriage exist. And I'm not talking about the stuff that came after Obama and them with the same sex and all that type of stuff. I'm talking about polygyny has been around for quite a long time. There's a very good book by Nancy Kai, only called Public Vows, where she talks about the origins of why the U.S. and the West in particular really pushed monogamy. And it's not really what you think. It's not to protect the woman at all. It was the last time the West has really been out to protect other than white male landowners, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not to protect the woman at all. It's more to protect those elites. Nevertheless, she breaks down great details in her course, not her course, but in her book. She's a Harvard professor as well. Nevertheless, I just want to kind of share those things that, I wish I'd have done them. I would do them differently if I could do them over, but that's not how life works. Life goes in one direction. All right, but if we get the lessons from those challenges and able to empower others or equip and utilize them for better, then we can pack those away in our wisdom bucket, if you will, to utilize and to help people with. And that's what I'm grateful for them now in understanding it, even though it's pain and toil and hurt and so on to have to go through and grow through. So now to be able to share that with others so they don't make some of those same mistakes, unless they choose to. But in their case, they won't be able to say, nobody told me, or I didn't know better. So with that being said, I just want to share some things that I would change, or as some people say, I regret doing in a certain fashion versus acting like, everything's just all good and I wouldn't change anything. No, not at all. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing a 4-part Polygyny Masterclass. So if you're watching it and the Polygyny Masterclass is still available from January 16th through February 6th, I would encourage you to register. The link is below in the description. I look forward to seeing you there, bro. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Here are 3 ways outstanding personal relationships can help you.
Make sure you guys are following us on our social medias at Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook, and on IG at Outstanding Relationships, and also Clubhouse under our names.
And make sure you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com and sign up for our email list. And there you will get updates on our new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored.
Absolutely. And last but not least, when it comes to coaching or counseling, if you want to work with us one-on-one or in group settings, make sure you're on that website and reach out to us, because we do have very limited spots and we usually have a wait list. So with that being said, GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.